Hi, my name is Lisa Orr, and I am an ergonomics consultant with Sedgwick, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about home workspace setups since we're all working from home. And you would think that this far into the pandemic, we would be seeing some amazing home setups, but in the clients that I'm working with, that's not necessarily been the case. I've been working with folks just about every day to help improve their setups, and I've seen a lot of unusual and interesting circumstances when people are trying to set up their stations. This could be for many reasons. I know at first we thought this was temporary. I mean, the weeks turned into months, and then we realized, we need to fix our setups here because this is becoming more and more uncomfortable the longer I'm using it. And I know even as little as 6 months ago, it was hard to find even office furniture that was appropriate for the home because it was all sold out. But I would say even if you're planning on returning to the office, now would still be a good time to take a look at your home setup, make sure it's appropriate for you, because if this pandemic has taught us anything, it's to be flexible. And you never know when you're going to need to work from home, or maybe even if you're working from home and going to the office sort of in a phased approach where you'll be home for a couple of days and in the office for a couple of days. It would be really beneficial for you to have a good setup to come home to. And not only is that helpful for productivity reasons, but also to minimize the risk of repetitive motion injuries. So the first and foremost problem that I've been seeing when I do ergonomic evaluations for home setups is this right here. People that are working on a laptop and they only have a laptop with no peripherals. As you can imagine, this is not my favorite thing, because if you're going to work with a laptop and you don't have a keyboard and a mouse and you want to set this up appropriate for typing, this is great for typing, but this is too low for viewing. And if I'm going to set up my screen, great for viewing, obviously this is going to be too high for typing. So there's just, this in and of itself is not very adjustable. So at a minimum, I really encourage people to try to at least, at a very minimum, is obtain a keyboard and a mouse. These are not expensive. You can find them just about anywhere. You can often buy them in a set. But as you can see, this would give you a lot more adjustability if you could at least separate your keyboard and your mouse from your screen. So first thing I do is encourage a keyboard and a mouse. So if assuming that we have a keyboard and a mouse, what should we do with those? Where should your heights go? I would encourage you to take a look at the heights of all your computer components. So as an ergonomist, I really like the keyboard and mouse right about elbow height, right about here. This is just nice and straight for your wrist. It's a nice relaxed posture for your shoulder, and it minimizes your risk. So if this is the case, a lot of people I see are working on their dining room table or maybe at a non-adjustable desk, and it's really hard to get your keyboard and mouse that low because our tables are much higher than that. So if that's the case, then usually I would encourage you to raise up your chair and then use a footrest to support your feet so that you can be at elbow height. What though, if that isn't possible? What if your chair doesn't go up high enough? Maybe you're using a chair that doesn't raise in height. If that's the case and you still want to continue using the kitchen table, then what I've been doing is finding usually like a height adjustable laptop platform or riser table type thing. So you can Google it. It's just a laptop table. A lot of these are height adjustable, so you could get one that's in your elbow height range, and you could put your keyboard and mouse on that little table, and then your monitors and screens and everything can go up here on your regular kitchen table if you need to. The one thing that I want to make sure is that if you do get a little laptop table that's height adjustable, make sure it's wide enough to accommodate both your keyboard and your mouse together. The worst thing is to have your keyboard down at the appropriate height and then your mouse is up high. Okay, so that's where you want these to go. Now, where should you have your monitors or your laptop screen or whatever you're using for a screen? Well, I usually like the top of the screen eye level. So if this is what I'm working with, this laptop right here, then I want to, raise it up to eye level. I could do that using a stack of books or something sturdy that I find around the house, or they even make laptop risers like this one. You can set different types of laptops and, you know, you can see how much this would raise this above my desk. Again, I would only do that if I have my extra keyboard and mouse to go down here. Okay. Same holds true for a traditional monitor. Top of the screen should be about eye level. And again, if you're lucky enough to have an extra monitor, then you would just check the back and the height adjustable stand that comes with it, or again, stack books underneath or something like that. Okay, so that's the computer components. Let's talk about chairs for a little bit. The next thing you want to do is just make sure your chair is comfortable. It should support your lower back. It should be not too deep for you so that you can lean back against the backrest. The backrest should be firm. It should, if it does allow you to recline, it should be firm enough that you don't feel like you're going to fall backwards. And you should also have armrests. If you have armrests, make sure that they're not too high or too bulky where they impede you from getting close to your computer. You want to be able to scoot fully underneath your desk and so that you're not reaching for your computer. So that's at a minimum. You can, little pillows can go a long way towards supporting your low back or making the chair fit you a little bit better. You can get creative with what you have at home. If you happen to be in the market for a new chair, maybe you've decided that the one you have isn't working well for you, then at a minimum, I would suggest make sure you try it before you buy it. So sit in it, explore all the paddles and levers, make sure that it has seat height appropriate for you, seat depth, make sure it fits you well, it's appropriate for your size, make sure that the backrest is not too tight, and you know, again, the lower back part fits into your low back. All right. Now, the next thing I'm seeing is people who perhaps they started out by working in the kitchen or even on a kitchen counter, and they've decided to bite the bullet, purchase a new desk for their home setup. If you're going to do that, then at a minimum, what I would say, the number one thing to look for if you're buying a new desk is find something that's height adjustable. 29 inches is usually the standard desk height for most desks, most kitchen tables, and that's usually too high for just about everybody. So there's a lot of height adjustable options online. Again, like some of the sourcing issues we were finding earlier this year with everything being sold out is not as bad anymore. So you actually can find some very economical desks that are height adjustable. They maybe even have the sit stand feature in them. So again, if you're wondering what height range you need, just have someone measure your elbow height from your elbow to the floor with your shoulders relaxed, and then that'll give you a good idea on what height range you need on a desk. Okay. Another thing that I'm hearing from a lot of people is that they're really looking to incorporate more standing into their day. They feel like they're sitting for long periods, and that's understandable. We've been working on video conferencing now for a year. We attend a lot of meetings. We're sitting for long periods. If this is the case, then there are lots of ways you could if you just want to incorporate short periods of standing, and it's on a temporary basis, then perhaps you could take your laptop and go to the kitchen counter the next time you have maybe a meeting, or if you're on a meeting that's in listen only mode, that's a great time to stand. You could even, again, only on a temporary basis, but you could take an inverted crate or laundry basket or something and create like a little standing height platform for yourself. Again, just for temporary, just as a little break from sitting. Or even an ironing board. Those are height adjustable, and you can usually get those to about whatever height you need. So that would be a great, again, temporary situation for someone. I wouldn't do it if you're worried about pets or kids running underneath the ironing board, that type of thing, because they're not necessarily sturdy for long periods. If you're looking for something more permanent, though, to encourage sitting and standing, and you're looking to incorporate that at home, again, there's a lot of sit-stand models of desks and desktop units that have come out in the last year, and they're getting better and better. They're getting more and more economical. So you might consider looking online for a sit-stand unit. The only thing I would encourage you to look at is if you're looking at, say, a desktop model that sits up on top of the existing desk, just keep in mind that a lot of those don't lower any lower than the actual desk itself. So make sure if the desk that you're putting it on is a good height for you, then that's great for sitting. If your desk is too high, that might be too high for sitting. So you might look at the different models and look at the heights that you need in that way. Right. Now I just want to shift focus just a little bit and talk to anyone who's out there who's an employer. Perhaps you're making decisions for your company and you know maybe that this working from home situation is going to be a permanent or at least a very long-term commitment for employees. If this is the case and maybe you're looking for ways you can assist your employees on how to set up their home setup, there's any number of ways that you could do that. One way is just simply letting them take home furniture that they might have used in the office, or monitors or peripherals, or just any equipment that they might have had in the office that they could just take that home, use it temporarily, and then bring it back when they come back. That's what some companies are doing. Other companies are even providing stipends for their employees. So maybe a set amount of money that they can use as they need to either provide a desk or a chair or whatever they decide that they need. One word of caution, if this is something you're choosing to do, it really works best if you give employees some guidance on what to buy or put some parameters on what they might order, because I found that often employees don't really know exactly what they need. And if you can ensure that they're choosing from a list that say has good adjustable characteristics, then that would go a long way toward preventing some poor purchases. Okay. And then finally, one last word of advice for anyone who's working at home is to be sure to take breaks. This is something we did in the office, and I think it's something that's even more important at home because we're sitting at our desks oftentimes even longer than we were in the office. We don't get those natural interruptions from colleagues that stop by to say hello. We might not even realize what time it is if we get busy or we're on lots of conference calls. So breaks are super important, but they're even more important if you're working in a setup that is maybe less than optimal. Perhaps that table is a little bit too high, then make sure you're moving frequently. This right there can go a long way toward preventing static work postures. It helps get the blood flowing and it helps promote healing. So that can be a great way to reduce your risks while you're working at home. Set reminders on your cell phone if you need to. Walk around even during a phone call. That can be a great time to just get a little break from sitting. All right. So thank you for having me, and I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for taking the time to listen. And if you should need any assistance, feel free to let me know.